Well, we have welcomed refugees over the years, but I can recall one particular period in which in Vietnam we had the boat people incident, where people were fleeing the country in boats and whatnot. Husbands and wives were separated, children were separated, lost, and whatnot. And we here in Barrie and in Canada, we welcome people from Vietnam. And so a group of us from the Kempenfelt Kiwanis Club, which was a new Kiwanis Club here in Barrie, a group of us, we decided that we would bring in the first Vietnamese family in the area and to Barrie. And the then present mayor, Les Cook, and myself, we had arranged for this family to come to the Toronto airport. And Les Cook and I both took our cars and we went down there, and it was a family of 7. And we had prearranged a home on Dunlop Street West and a development there that we had leased or purchased for this family to come to. We brought them up here in our cars, and it was a husband and wife, and I believe, I'm trying to relate the number of boys or girls, but there were boys in the ages from about 11 years old down to 6 or 7. They were fairly close together. And my wife Ruth played a great part in it. She had assembled the women of the Kiwanis Club, and they had furnished this home. They got furnishings from every place. I remember we contributed a sewing machine because they were sewers. They could do this type of thing, work. And we had the home totally furnished when they arrived. And all at no cost to anyone. It was all contributed. So we picked them up and we brought them back here. And then we had the job of assimilating them into the community. Yes, well, we, the Kiwanis Club members, the various women in various categories would visit them. And this is where we got work for the woman with a tailor. And we got a job with Lauren Jackson, who had been a past president of the Kempenfelt Kiwanis Club, and learned that this man had been a chef, but really a chef there, it wasn't suitable to be a chef here. So he gave them a job washing dishes. And so they got work, and then we took the children to school. I took the boys to the Prince of Wales School, and we got them enrolled there, and we got them health cards, we got them all the necessary papers that they needed here in Canada. At this time, it was a little different maybe than now, where a lot of this is automatic, but it wasn't then. It had to be done after they arrived here. We had picked them up fresh off the boat, so to speak, and so all this had to be done. And we were one of the first here in Barrie to have a Vietnamese boat people family come. And then they wanted, and we wanted them to come into and be a part of the community. So we had, on a Sunday afternoon, we had a party here in this room here, which we invited some neighbors and other people, and they came here and sat on chairs around here. And I remember the woman nodding to the two girls that were probably, oh, maybe one was 7, maybe one was 9, that they were to serve the tea. And they served the tea, and they served it wonderfully. And this was just a memorable occasion for my wife Ruth to have them here and host them, and they responded by doing their part. And it was a very successful, I think, incoming of associating people, newcomers, to become Canadian and be a part of Canada and the development of Canada. And today, I know many Vietnamese people. In fact, about every other day, I go to one at the East End Variety where there's a Vietnamese woman and her husband run our proprietors, and they own property, and they have just done well, and they were both people. In fact, in that case, the husband and wife were separated for a long time. They lost one another in the scramble getting out of the country. So Canada, I'm proud of Canada welcoming these people. And I shouldn't say this maybe, but unlike a neighboring country that's making it difficult to welcome outside people, I think Canada is still a haven and a welcome to newcomers.